All right, 49ers update. Bad news for the Seattle Seahawks. Their QB1, Geno Smith, tweaked his groin in practice, and it sounds like there's a real chance that Drew Lock will start in his place. Geno did not practice on Friday, so the 49ers might get the Seahawks backup quarterback on Sunday at Levi's Stadium. We'll hear from Pete Carroll in a bit. Why don't we take a look at the 49ers injury report in this update first? Nothing surprising here. Out for the 49ers, Arik Armstead with the knee and the foot issue. The 49ers have expected him to be out for a week or two. So Javon Kinlaw will very likely start in Armstead's place, and Kinlaw's been really good over the course of the past month. Ray McCloud is out. That is a disappointing turn for the 49ers. He practiced in a non-contact jersey on Wednesday, but then wasn't out there for the longest practice of the week on Thursday. So for the second straight game, the 49ers will have to operate without their top return man. This is a significant deal against the Seattle team, who I believe only has a chance to hang with the 49ers via special teams. That's been the case with Seattle here for the past two seasons. Well, no return man for the 49ers. That means you probably go to Ronnie Bell again on punt returns, and Ronnie Bell muffed one, luckily kicked it out of bounds last week. You want the stability that McCloud brings back there, and the 49ers will not have it in this game. Deebo Samuel returned kicks against the Philadelphia Eagles with Ray McCloud out. We'll see if the 49ers follow a similar strategy. And then, as expected, Ross Dwelley, who's got a high ankle sprain, he's also out of this game. Dwelley might go to IR if the 49ers do end up signing Zach Ertz, and a decision could come next week for Zach Ertz. That could be the move that opens up space for the 49ers. That being said, until Zach Ertz makes his decision, there's no reason to put Dwelley on IR, because something else might happen this weekend for the 49ers to necessitate some transactions. So they might as well just hold pat, wait to see what happens, and then wait to see if Zach Ertz does indeed come their way. He obviously would have a small role on the field, but could have a big role in the locker room. 49ers who are doubtful for this game against the Seattle Seahawks: Darrell Luter Jr., Spencer Burford, and Elijah Mitchell. So Luter is the defensive back with a hamstring injury, had a big tackle on special teams against the Seahawks 2 weeks ago on Thanksgiving, but he probably won't play. The 49ers have anticipated that he's going to miss this game, and he is indeed doubtful. Spencer Burford, that's the starting right guard for the 49ers. He missed the last game against Seattle with an injury on his opposite knee. This is a different knee that he suffered against Philadelphia. Burford made some nice blocks against the Eagles, so the 49ers will start John Feliciano in his place if he can't play for the second straight time against Seattle. And Elijah Mitchell, the 49ers running back, is also doubtful in this football game. Mitchell, in his absence, means the 49ers will likely have to call somebody up from the practice squad. So here's a roster outlook to see what the 49ers might do. Injured players are shaded in red here, or pinkish red. So if you look at the call-ups last week, or Chris Conley and Erik Harris. This week, I'm going to go ahead and erase the green, which signifies a call-up from last week. Conley probably won't get called up, but either Ty Davis-Price, who's now in the practice squad, or Jeremy McNichols might get called up for the 49ers. I would think that Ty Davis-Price is the more likely option. Your second call-up, where might that be? Well, Erik Harris, probably again, if Darrell Luter Jr. can't go. So I think Erik Harris, we're going to take him off of the green for now, but they could use the second activation for the safety depth and the special teamer that they signed to the practice squad. You only get 2 activations per season, but it might be a good one to use on the practice squad, Erik Harris. That's your 49ers roster outlook. John Feliciano would slide in at right guard for Spencer Burford. Javon Kinlaw would slide in at that defensive tackle position for Arik Armstead. And then Luter, whose special teams depth, I said, well, maybe Erik Harris is able to fill in for him. You also have Logan Ryan now on the football team, but I don't know how quickly they're going to integrate Logan Ryan into full special teams duty. Erik Harris is a player with over 1,500 career special team snaps that was essentially built for that special teams role. And Logan Ryan, he's freshly removed off of a cruise to the Bahamas. 49ers called up Erik Harris when he was on that cruise to the Bahamas, and he stopped drinking, got into the cruise ship gym. 32-year-old veteran. He's good backup safety depth behind Jair Brown and Tashawn Gibson after the 49ers put these two guys, Hufanga and Odom, on IR. But I don't know if I would expect him to fill a major special teams role immediately right out of bed. Anyway, the big news on the Seattle side is that it might be Drew Lock instead of Geno Smith. Let's listen to what Pete Carroll had to say, and you could judge for yourself the chances of Geno Smith with the groin injury playing in this game.
He just tweaked his groin a little bit yesterday. Just kind of stumbled over somebody.
Do you think he's going to play?
We'll see. We rested him today.
Bringing back Sean Mannion, just obviously a guy who knows your system and stuff like that.
Amazing recall that he can jump back in. He's been with another team here just a couple weeks ago with Minnesota. He's a very special football player that he has so much command. So it really is a benefit for us.
How do you feel about Drew if Drew has to start?
He's been waiting for this opportunity and looking forward to it and preparing for it. If this comes to pass, then he is as ready as he can get. Excited about him getting a chance to play, and I know for him, he's been really disciplined about the way he focuses every week to make himself know and believe that he's going to be playing, as that guy has to do. And so if it changes this week, we'll see the benefits of all of his hard work to focus like you need to focus to maintain what it takes to play this game.
Is this one of those things then you'll need to see Geno work out before the game?
Yeah, we'll wait and see.
All right, time for a 49ers Q&A. There's Pete Carroll, obviously a little bit fidgety. I can't get a read on him because I don't cover Pete Carroll on a day-in, day-out basis. But the truth is that Geno Smith did miss practice today. Geno has struggled against the 49ers. And, I mean, Drew Lock, I don't know if it's a lateral move or a downward move. Geno has played better football over the course of his time with the Seahawks than Drew Lock has ever played in his career. So I think that if you're the 49ers, you'd rather face Drew Lock. Obviously, the Seahawks have Drew as QB2 and Geno as QB1 for a reason. But still, the 49ers do have a marked advantage on paper over Seattle. And, I talked about that in the piece that is linked in the description. You could check it out by clicking on the link in the description. Here it is. 49ers win streak over the Seahawks has been fueled by control of both sides of the passing game. They've shut down Geno Smith and DK Metcalf, who's pictured here. Charvarius Ward has followed him around. And on the other side of the ball, Brock Purdy has dominated the Seattle Seahawks. So the Seattle injury situations at quarterback only underscore what's going on as far as the advantage for the 49ers in the pass game. All right, a couple questions. And the severity of Mitchell's injury, well, he's doubtful. He's not ruled out. So it's obviously significant, but it's not something that I think the 49ers are looking at long-term for Elijah Mitchell. Probably going to have to call up somebody from that practice squad. That's why Ty Davis Price might have re-signed with the team to the practice squad so quickly after being waived. Kenneth Walker, I think, is going to play. Kyle Shanahan is expecting Kenneth Walker to play. And Kenneth Walker, he could be a game-breaking running back. He can house one. So the 49ers didn't see him 2 weeks ago on Thursday night, but I would expect that Kenneth Walker will play in this game on Sunday. So regardless of who's quarterback for Seattle, then you have to watch out for Kenneth Walker. Danny Gray is healthy. That's all you need to know. He's still on IR. He's healthy, but the 49ers don't need him right now. Do I think in general the 49ers D-line developed a solid strategy for dealing with mobile QBs as they showed against Philly? Not necessarily. Every mobile QB is different. Jalen Hurts has some tendencies of looking at the pass rush, trying to escape in certain hatches, where the 49ers cut it down by playing that disciplined rush, but every single mobile QB is going to be different. So it's going to be really interesting to see the 49ers play Kyler Murray, what style they're going to use there, what style they're going to use the week after that against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. But, maybe in general, they will take some principles from the Jalen Hurts game, although not every mobile quarterback is built the same. No, why do people expect Logan Ryan to be starting? Jair Brown has been playing good football for the 49ers. Yeah, he missed a couple tackles, but the coverage has been on point. Logan Brown is a depth signing for the 49ers, and they're not going to bring a guy off of a cruise ship at age 32 and thrust him into a safety position, a starting safety position over somebody who's been playing well in Jair Brown. Why are analysts not giving Purdy his props? Because they don't know the game. It's as simple as that. They're desperate for clicks and they don't know the game. If they knew the game better, they would get the clicks they need in an honest way. But instead, it's intellectually dishonest at this point to not give Brock Purdy the credit that he deserves. He is an MVP caliber player by every single objective metric, which is why you see people taking subjective metrics out of the book because the objective ones don't agree with them and unfortunately can't fuel the clickbait that they need. Appreciate you, man. Love that. Love the goat. Put the little goat emoji, be even better. Everybody smash that like button while you're here. Scott Evans asks, why is John Lynch not getting love for putting this team together? I mean, I talk about it all the time here. I give credit where it's due. I really don't care what other people, other channels, other sources are saying. I mean, you guys come here because this is where the truth is going to be. So whatever they're saying about Purdy, whatever they're saying about Lynch or not saying about them, the truth is going to come from here. And we have a documented track record, right? Going back to the whole Trey Lance draft pick, going back to Jimmy Garoppolo and telling the truth on that situation, talking about the 49ers roster, talking about Brock Purdy this offseason. There's a lot of people with eggs on their faces. Going back to dink and dunk Brock Purdy, a lot of people with eggs on their faces who probably don't want some of what they said earlier to surface. So that's why I don't care what anybody else says right now. I'm going to say what I say. It's going to be true about the 49ers, and we're going to move on with it. It's not that hard to figure this stuff out. All you have to do is talk to people in the building, watch some tape, and analyze some trends, and that's what we've done with the 49ers. So it works. RG says, no disrespect, but putting the team together means nothing unless you hoist the Lombardi. Well, it means something. Let's be honest. Like a perpetual contender is going to entertain people. People don't just tune in to sports for the ultimate victory or nothing. People still, they fill up the stadium every week. People want memories. People want entertainment. 49ers have given us a lot of that over the past few years. Of course you want to win the Super Bowl, but this all or nothing thing, only 1 out of 32 teams is going to win every year. So I think the all or nothing approach is just not a healthy way to look at stuff. Since the sticky coverage worked extremely well against Philadelphia, do you think the same tactic applies to Seattle? Sticky coverage always works. You always want to be sticky coverage-wise. And the 49ers actually were on Thanksgiving night against Seattle. Remember, Charvarius Ward only gave up 1 catch for 14 yards on 6 targets to DK Metcalf. It's the pass rushing strategy that the 49ers changed against Philadelphia. They took some steam out of their pass rush. They were unselfish. They weren't going for sacks. They wanted to make sure Jalen Hurts couldn't run. But by doing that, they gave him more time to throw. And that required the coverage to be even better than it was against Seattle. So you always want to be sticky. The question is, how sticky do you need to be? If there's a mobile quarterback like Jalen Hurts in there, the 49ers said, be even stickier because we need to be more careful with the way that we rush the quarterback. The 49ers have changed their approach in nickel coverage, but this goes back to the Jacksonville game. This goes back to the bye week, really. They removed Isaiah Oliver and they slid Diamador Lenore, so they have more shiftiness instead of size in the slot to go after some of these inside receivers. And the key to that has been Ambry Thomas emerging as a really good cornerback on the outside. Well, yeah, Jackson Smith Njigba has developed over the course of the year. He's a rookie out of Ohio State. He had an injury in the preseason, right? So I think he is looking a lot better. 2 weeks ago, he had probably Seattle's only offensive highlight of the game with that spectacular catch. I think it was against Diamador Lenore down the right side. So he's a tough matchup for anybody. I think Seattle's gotten better offensively this year because of that. However, now they're dealing with the Geno Smith question and that groin injury in practice. Seth Joyner is a former player who's now in the media for Philadelphia. And he was trying to say that he was mad that Nick Bosa said the 49ers uncovered the blueprint to beat the Eagles or slow down their offense. And it appears to me that Seth Joyner just doesn't understand how the game works. I mean, all due respect to him as a former player, if you don't care about pressures from a defensive end, and Nick Bosa had 9 of them, if all you want is sacks, then you're not paying attention to the style of play that the 49ers purposefully delivered. They were not going for sacks against Philadelphia. They were going for pressures. They were going for containment, and it worked. He was complaining about the nerds and their advanced statistics. Pressures aren't an advanced stat. Pressure is a fairly basic stat to me. And 2, if he wants a more basic statistic, the 49ers held Philadelphia to 12 points before garbage time. I think that's as basic as it gets. So if he wants just a simple number, that's how badly the 49ers dominated the Eagles offense on the scoreboard. And that's what matters. And that was a result of the blueprint that Nick Bosa was talking about. So I think Seth Joyner's a little nervous that Dallas is going to try to do the same thing against the Eagles. And the Eagles, who don't have a great point differential, don't have great advanced stats, they might be on their way to a second straight loss. Nick Bosa talked about pressures being the game plan and having to hold back from sacks. It was part of the game plan. Yeah, it's not a nerd stat. That's exactly what I was saying. I don't know if Steve Wilks will be around next year, but I mean, obviously he's been a head coach before. He did a good job as Carolina's interim coach, and the adjustments that he's made and the addition that he's made to this 49ers defense cannot be understated. You know, he also fought through some adversity to get to the defense to this point. He hadn't been perfect. There were growing pains as far as integrating his coverage combinations to what the 49ers are doing. You have to give him a lot of credit for fighting through those growing pains to get the defense to the elite level that it's at right now. Mike points out that common sense is tough to have. That's something that I've noticed as well. Seattle has a weak offensive line. It's the opposite of Philadelphia. They don't have a particularly mobile quarterback, whether it's Geno Smith or Drew Lock. So you can rush a different way. The 49ers have 84 pressures, or no, 86. Sorry, I sold them short. 86 pressures over the past 4 games against the Seattle Seahawks. Just gives you an idea of the massive advantage that the 49ers have up front. So they don't have to play this as cautiously as they did Philadelphia. I think the Cowboys are going to get them. The Cowboys are actually favored over the Eagles by 3.5 points. And I think that the 49ers popped the balloon for Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia was getting away with a lot. They weren't nearly as good as that record would have indicated, right? They're winning a lot of close games, while the 49ers were better than their record indicated. And you saw it play it on the field in Philly. 49ers blew the brakes off of the Eagles. And I think the Cowboys are playing really well offensively right now. Dak is a lot better than he was earlier in the season. The Eagles defense is ranked number 21. I think Dallas wins in a high scoring game. And we'll see what Dallas does defensively if they do indeed heed Bosa's advice and start rushing with a little less reckless abandon, because Dallas, they like to pin their ears back and rush like chickens with their heads cut off. And that's why they do really well against overmatched teams, but struggle against teams that can run the football and have, a way to counter their talent. Dallas is going to have to be more restrained in this game, and that's why Nick Bosa urged them to follow the 49ers blueprint. 49ers want Dallas to win this game as well. Do we have the Seattle full injury report yet? I'm looking right now. Yeah. Here it is. Maybe Kenneth Walker is questionable officially, so I would expect him to play. Somebody just said in the comment section that Kenneth Walker is out. Kenneth Walker is not out. Questionable for the Seahawks: Jordan Brooks, Trey Brown, Zach Charbonnet, Dwayne Eskridge, Jaron Reed, Geno Smith, and Kenneth Walker. Yeah, he is not out. I just saw that in the comment section. I'm like, wait, let me look at the Seattle injury report. Kenneth Walker, K9 as they call him, he's a good running back, and he is not out. No. Don't say that prematurely. Special teams this time around, I think, is in a worse spot than it was before. They don't have George Odom to begin this game. They don't have Darrell Luter Jr., who made a big stop. D. Eskridge is the guy who had the return, who Darrell Luter Jr. ran down. He's questionable for Seattle, but Seattle has a top 5 special teams unit. That's the only phase of the game where they can surely threaten the 49ers. So I don't think you can ever feel good about special teams entering a game against the Seattle Seahawks. Even last year, they got the 49ers on special teams in that first game on the blocked field goal that was taken back for a touchdown. So that's the potential equalizer here, and the 49ers need to make sure that it doesn't end up being one. 1K in the chat. You got to love it. Exactly 1K right now as I'm looking up on the screen. That's cool. You know, I just been stretching this show out because I saw the number growing. So if it keeps on growing, maybe I put in a few more minutes. Those of you who just joined, the 49ers maybe facing Drew Lock instead of Geno Smith. The 49ers will not have Armstead, McCloud, or Dwelly. That's another special teams loss, Ray McCloud, so you can't feel great about the special teams there. Again, that's the one way that Seattle might be able to challenge the 49ers. Doubtful, Darrell Luter Jr., that's a significant loss on special teams if he can't play. Spencer Burford, John Feliciano is a really good backup on the interior lines. That would help. And Elijah Mitchell. 49ers roster outlook is as such. I took a peek at the roster with my chart a little bit earlier. Hopefully everybody didn't miss it. If you did, you can take a look at it right now. I've shaded the injured players in pink up there. And make sure you subscribe to The Athletic. This is the article. 49ers dominating Seattle through the air and on the ground. All right, everybody, thanks for joining. Will the 49ers beat the Seahawks? That's going to be coming up next. So stay tuned for that. Obviously, the prediction coming up this weekend as well.